Okay, you're quiet and listening to the one speaker, right? Whether it's Lee, it's Lois, or this young man, you're listening to that one speaker. Good. How else can I tell you're a good listener?
We're not yelling out loud.
We're not calling out. We're waiting our turn. You're exactly right. Good thinker.
We're not, we're not being, yelling out.
Right. And she said that we were sitting crisscross applesauce. We're sitting what? We're paying attention to the person who's talking. We're still, aren't we? Okay, so great job for those good listening skills. So I'm going to be watching to see if you're monitoring your own behavior, because I can only control myself, right? Can I control this young man? What if he wanted to jump up and do jumping jacks? Could I keep him from doing that? No, I can only control myself. So whose behavior you're going to monitor? You point to the person you can monitor. Yourself. That's exactly right. So you make the choices for yourself. I'm very proud of you. Okay, you ready to get started now?
Yeah.
I am too. Well, today I'm going to read a book, and this is one of my very, very, very favorite books. And Mrs. Lewis was telling me that she likes to let you sit on the rug and she holds the book up. Is that correct? Is that how she reads out loud to you? And the title of my book is Alligator Baby. Alligator Baby. Raise your hand if you've heard this story. Some of you may have heard it before.
I've
Very
never
good.
heard.
Very good. Well, you're going to love this book. And if you look, I wrote in the top there, McCarn. That's my daughter. And when she was a second grader, I read this book almost every single day because it was her favorite book. So when I started thinking about a lesson, I thought, I want you to speak the second graders like. So I thought about this one. So that's why her name's up there at the top, because this is what used to be her book, but she gave it to me because she's not in second grade anymore. Do you know how old she is?
About 14.
17 years old.
She's really good.
So she doesn't love to read Alligator Baby anymore, so she gave it to me. So the author is Robert Munsch. Have you ever heard any of Robert Munsch's other books? Raise your hand if you've heard of a Robert Munsch book. Which one have you heard? Love You Forever. I love that book too. So we do have someone who's familiar with Robert Munsch. So Alligator Baby. I'm going to look at the front cover, and I see a lady, and I see a man, and I see a kid, and I see an alligator baby. I wonder if that's why it's named Alligator Baby. And it does look like some kind of pet, maybe a cat. Okay, thank you for waiting your turn. Alligator Baby. One night, Kristen's mother woke up and yelled, "A baby! A baby! I'm having a baby!" Kristen's father jumped up, zoomed around the room, got dressed, and grabbed Kristen's mother by the hand. They ran downstairs to the car and drove off really fast. Vroom! Unfortunately, they got lost. They didn't go to the hospital. They went to the zoo. But it was okay. Kristen's mother had a lovely baby. Then they drove home and knocked on their front door. Blam, 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 blam. Did you see this? As a reader, I'm going to stop down. I'm going to think. I know that this story is going to be a real story or a not-real story. Not real story. It's a not-real story. And we call that fiction.
Because nobody in this world would have an alligator baby.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. So let me see. I'm going to try to really comprehend what I'm reading. So I'm thinking, let me write this down as I think, because sometimes when I think, I write. Do you do that sometimes when you think that you write? So I'm going to think, are there some people in my story right now? Yeah, raise your hand if you know who the people are. What are the people called?
Family.
Okay, so what if I was reading another story? Would it have a mom and dad in it?
Family.
Excuse me.
Probably.
Probably. Well, not necessarily, because if I was reading another story, it might have people in it, but it wouldn't be the mom and dad, right? So what are those things called in a story? Start to the C.
Character.
Characters. You are so right. And he told me who the characters are. Should I be thinking about the characters while I'm reading?
Yeah.
Yes. And he said who?
Mother,
Mom. And he said
Dad.
Dad. That's who we know about so far, right?
It's fun.
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. I also need to think about where the story takes place. What's that called? Where the story takes place.
At night,
What is that called?
where the story takes place is they probably they went had a baby.
Okay, so we gotta think where. You're right. We gotta think where.
It's called the setting.
It's called the setting. And do we know the setting right now, sweet girl? Do we know the setting yet? She says we don't know the setting. Okay, so let me read on and find out what's going to happen.
Actually,
All right, I'm going to think back because I was a good reader. A good reader always looks back. So I'm going to look back because I thought this was really funny. Her mama jumps out of the bed. She says, a baby, I'm having a baby. Oh, goodness. And so they jump in the car because they're so excited. And they drive off really fast. Vroom. And then they got lost. They didn't go to the hospital. They ended up at the... Tell me, young lady. So do I know the setting? What do you think? Do you know the setting? What do you think the setting is? Maybe the setting? Okay, I'm going to read the next page. Okay, so then they drove back home and they knocked on the front door. Bang, 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 bang. That's where we stopped. Kristen opened the door, and there was her mother, holding something all wrapped up. Kristen, she said, would you like to see your new baby brother? Oh, yes, said Kristen. So Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket. She saw a long green tail, and she said, that's not a people tail. Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket and saw a green claw and said, that's not a people claw. Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket and saw a long green face with lots of sharp teeth. And she said, that's not a people face. That is not my baby brother. Now, Kristen, said her mother, don't be jealous. What you said?
Kristen's another
Okay. Now,
You should
I'm going to let you stop and think with your partner. We've named 2 characters, and we weren't sure about the setting. So turn to your partner, and I'm going to give you just about 30 seconds to talk. Do we know any more characters, and do we know the setting? Go.
Kristen, You can go, alligator house.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. Ready? Very good. Okay, so I think about what did your partner say? Do we need to add anything to the character side? Yes, yes, sir. Okay, he said, and we should add alligator and Kristen. Raise your hand if you agree with me. Touch your nose if you don't agree with me. Okay, so you think we should add Kristen? She's a character? Okay, and how about the alligator? Should we add the alligator?
Put baby on the end.
You want to put baby alligator? Or baby?
Baby.
Just the baby? Is that what you and your partner talked about?
Baby alligator.
You wanted to do the alligator too?
No, gator.
Well, we'll put alligator. We'll put the
Baby
whole word.
alligator.
Gator's kind of a short way, so we'll put alligator. Okay, how about the setting? Did you and your partner talk about the setting? Let me see who's raise your hand if you and your partner talk about the setting. I heard some folks talking about setting. How about you back there at the back?
I think the setting was they're going to be at Kristen's house.
Kristen's house. Okay, do you agree with him that we should put Kristen's house on here?
I think we should put Bob's dad's house.
Okay, well What you think?
The zoo.
She says we should add the zoo. Did they go to the zoo?
Yes.
Yeah. So could we add the zoo as a setting?
And you can put night because when she's screaming.
Then we could put night because that tells us the where or the when. You're exactly right. So it was night. That's right. Okay. So what we're writing up here on our chart is we call these fictional elements. Have you ever heard of that before? Fictional elements?
No.
No, but have you heard of characters and setting before? Yes, I figured you did. I did not think that would be a problem for you to have heard that before. Now, if I have characters and setting and I'm reading a fiction story, I'm gonna need to know the problem. Do you think we have a problem yet in the story?
Yes. Yes.
I'm thinking, because let me think here. Kristen gets that blanket, because I'm going to be a good reader, and a good reader always goes back to the book. I'm going to look back here, and I remember Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket, and she saw a tail. She lifted up the middle of the blanket, and she saw claws. And she lifted up the top of the blanket, and she saw a green face with lots of teeth. That sounds like a problem because that's not sounding like a human baby, is it? So, I'm going to go on and see if I know the problem. Just then the baby reached up and bit Kristen's mother on the nose. She yelled, "Ow, ow, ow, ow!" Then the baby reached up and bit her father on the nose. And he yelled, "Ow, ow, 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 ow!" You're right. "That's not a people baby," said Kristen. "That's an alligator baby." "Goodness," said her mother. "We've got the wrong baby." We thought we needed a problem in the story. I'm going to let you look at the illustration here. And I'm going to think. I'm thinking I know the problem. Where is your partner? Your partner talk and see if you know the problem. Go. What the problem is? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me.
David wasn't talking.
Thank you. We're monitoring our own behavior. And I'm watching everyone's behavior. Thank you for being a good friend. Thank you for being a good friend. Okay, so did you and your friend have an idea of the problem? Well, I had an idea of the problem. And I'm going to share with you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they're wanting a human baby because they're all humans. But that doesn't look like a human baby.
I think
So I'm thinking the problem is Kristen's family does not have the right baby. I'm going to keep on reading. So Kristen put the alligator baby into the fish tank, and her mother and father drove back to the zoo. They came back in an hour and knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. Kristen opened the door, and her mother said, "Would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. "I want to see my new baby brother." Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket and saw a fishy tail. She said, "That's not a people tail." Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket and she saw a flipper. And she said, "That's not a people flipper." Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket and saw a face with whiskers sticking out. And she said, "That's not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous."
What is that? A fish. It's like a seal. Ooh. Seal. Seal. And they got a cat. It's a seal.
Okay. Just then, up with its flipper, and blah! Her father says, "Whack, whack, 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 whack." He yelled, "Ah! It's a seal baby! We've got the wrong baby!" So, Kristen put the seal baby in the bathtub, and her mother and father drove back to the
Zoo. What is zoo? To the zoo? Do they got that baby?
Now, I asked you and your partner to think just a minute ago if you knew the problem with the story. Now, I want you to turn to your partner and think again. Do you still think it's the same problem as you said a minute ago? Ready? Find your knees.
They keep on They keep on doing
So, what do you got? You don't have? What do you think of that?
I know they keep on
All right, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. I'm ready. Thank you. Okay, so now let's let some partners share out. Why don't you share with us what were you and your partner thinking about the problem being in our story?
That she keeps on going back and getting the wrong animal.
Keeps going back. Where?
To the zoo.
Okay, and who keeps going back to the zoo?
The mom.
The mom and the
Dad.
keep going back to the zoo. And what did you make?
Whenever a person opens the head, it always says
And when she looks in the blanket, it's not a human baby. Right? Yeah, what were you thinking? Okay, so how should we write the problem? How should I write the problem here? Let's think for a minute. Will you keep waving your hand at us? So tell us how you think we should write the problem.
We should write the problem that they keep going to the zoo.
Should we say they or should we use names? What do you think?
Mom and Dad.
Names, because she was saying mom and dad. Is that okay if we use mom and dad like she was
Mom
saying?
and Dad keep going to the zoo and picking the wrong animals, but they probably left their baby there.
Okay, mom and dad keep going where?
To the zoo.
To the zoo. And what? Someone said it. And
Getting the wrong animal.
and getting
The wrong baby.
the wrong baby because they are getting babies. But
And leaving their mom and leaving their baby there.
okay. All right. So if I've got a problem, mom and dad keep going to the zoo and getting the wrong baby.
And
What do
leaving
I
their
know
baby
my
there.
last fictional element's going to probably be that we're going to
And
talk
leaving
about?
it there.
Thank you. It's going to be
It's gonna be they might get the right baby.
okay. So we got to figure out how to do what with our problem. Solve our problem. So our problem is going to have a solution. So how am I going to find out the solution to this problem? How am I going to find it out? Am I going to go home and take me a nap? Is that how I'm going to find out my solution?
No.
Nobody knows.
Go back in the story and look over.
Oh, so go back to the beginning and read the beginning again?
No.
Oh, I got to keep on reading where I'm at. Okay, so, here we go. They flip, flop, flop, flop in the face. And what does Kristen do? I got to look, I forgot. She's got to put the seal baby in the bathtub. Yeah. And then her mother and father go back to the zoo. Okay, here I go. I'm ready. They came back in the house and they knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. They said, Kristen, would you like to see your new baby brother? Oh, yes, said Kristen. She lifted up the bottom of the blanket. She saw a very hairy leg. And she said, that's not a people leg. She lifted up the middle of the blanket and she saw a very hairy arm. And she said, that's not a people arm. She lifted up the top of the blanket and she saw a very hairy face. And she said, that's not a people face. That That is not my baby brother. Now, Kristen, said her mother, don't be jealous.
It's a tarantula. No, it's a gorilla.
A gorilla?
It's a bear.
Oh, you see, you're looking
I
at
thought
the
it was
picture
a tree.
clues. You're
It's
using your picture clues.
probably
You
a
see those
bear.
feet.
And look at the seal.
Okay, yeah, you looked in the background. Then the baby reached up with its feet and it grabbed her mother's ear and her father's ear, and they both yelled, "It's a gorilla baby! We've got the wrong baby!"
When is it going to be a gorilla?
"Let me do it," said Kristen. So her mother and father put the gorilla baby on the chandelier in the living room, and Kristen went off to the zoo on her bicycle.
Oh, I want to be scared. A monkey.
Okay, is the same thing happening this time that's been happening? Yes or no? Yes, some people are saying. No, some people are saying. Okay, we have a new animal. We've got a gorilla baby. Is the same thing happening this time? You and your partner turn and talk. Is the same thing happening this time? Yes or no, and why?
Christian said that she's going to ride on a bicycle. And
All right, 1 second. Eyes on me. I'm ready. Okay, so we had to think. Let's see. If I go back, because a good reader does what? Goes back into the story to reread. So the first time when they had the alligator baby, they said, "Goodness, we've got the wrong baby." And Mom and Dad went back to the zoo and came back with the seal baby. And they said, "No, that's not our baby." So they got back with the seal in the bathtub, and the mother and father went back to the zoo. And then they came back with the gorilla baby, and she said, "That's not my baby brother." So tell me, did the same thing happen the third time?
Yes.
Okay, let's see who's a partner. Raise your hand if you and your partner would like to share. Okay, you would like to share, so tell us, did the same thing happen this time?
Yes, they keep on getting the wrong animals, but I think Kristen's going to get the right animal. She really wants her baby brother.
Okay, she says that she thinks Kristen's going to get the right. And so, did the same thing happen? Did Mom and Dad go back to the zoo this time? Who's going back to the zoo this time? Kristen. So, am I still in the problem that Mom and Dad keep going to the zoo and getting the wrong baby?
Yes.
Am I still in that problem? Or do you think I might be moving towards the solution?
Problem. Solution.
I'm thinking I'm moving towards the solution because it's something different's happening. Instead of Mom and Dad going back to the zoo, who's going back to the zoo? Is it Kristen? I'm going to see if that's what I'm thinking right. First, Kristen looked at the snake. And Kristen looked in the wombat cage.
It actually,
No people babies in the wombat. And Kristen looked in the elephant cage.
so you got.
No people babies in the elephant cages. When she stopped,
But I mean today,
she just
we'll just tell them, come on.
she
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just sorry you're having such a hard time.
That's more like it, said Kristen. And she followed the sound. It was coming from
And that's what I told him, but I just think it's gonna be hard. I will, I'll
I'm
do that.
thinking now, I was kind of thinking I might be moving from the problem to the solution since things were different with the last baby. So now that Kristen's at the zoo, things are happening differently. So I'm thinking I might be need to pay attention because I might be moving into the solution of this problem. And the clue that I have is that she was hearing whang, 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 whang. That sounds like a people baby. Kristen looked at the mommy gorilla and said, give me my baby brother? The gorilla jumped away and wouldn't give the baby to Kristen.
Oh, I know what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
They have to trade the back.
I'm thinking, this could be bad. This gorilla
Oh, yeah.
is not looking very happy to me. And she's wanting to take something from that gorilla.
The girl, she has
Oh,
his baby brother.
I'm thinking bad. I am thinking this is going to be very, very
She has
bad.
to get the gorilla and bring it back.
I'm going to find out. Then the people baby reached up and bit the gorilla on the nose. And the gorilla yelled, "Ah!" and handed the baby to Kristen. Kristen jumped on her bicycle and pedaled home as fast as she could go.
He's holding the girls.
Kristen knocked on the door. Bang, 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 bang. When her parents opened the door, she said, "Would you like to see your new baby?" Kristen's mother lifted up the bottom of the blanket and said, "Look, people legs." She lifted up the middle of the blanket and said, "Look, people hands." She lifted up the top of the blanket and said, "Look, a people face." Kristen's mother picked up the baby and gave it a great big hug. Her father took the baby and gave it a great big hug. And her mother said, "Kristen, Kristen, you got the baby back. Good for you."
It looks like a giraffe. Look at the baby. Look at the baby.
Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm thinking we might have a solution. What are you thinking? Turn to your neighbor and you and your partner talk. How did they solve this problem? Go. Knee to knee, eye to eye. Who's your partner? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Eyes on me. I'm ready. Let's see. This young lady has been so patiently raising her hand. She wants to tell us about what she and her partner said. What are you thinking?
That Kristen found the baby
She found the real baby, didn't she? Where did she find the real baby?
in the gorilla cage.
And the gorilla cage. Do you think that's the solution? You're raising your hand. What you and your partner talk about?
And that she made get all the animals that her parents got thrown in. They're gonna let them down.
Okay. Okay, what were you thinking?
I was thinking the baby was with their mom was wrong. So Kristen, your father went to the gorilla cage.
Okay, well, I'm hearing the same thing, that Kristen found the real baby. Do you think that's the solution? Okay, so Kristen found the real baby. Where did Kristen find the real baby?
In the gorilla cage.
The real baby. Okay, we put in the gorilla cage. Is that what you're saying?
In the zoo.
In the gorilla cage at the zoo.
Yeah.
Okay, do you think my book's finished? Because that's the solution.
Yes.
Is everything solved?
Yes.
Somebody's saying no.
Because there's more pages.
There's more pages. You're sneaking at my book. You're taking a sneak peek. That's a good reader skill.
I said
And
yes.
somebody's saying no.
Yes.
I bet you're thinking about something else too. I'm going to turn the page and see if I'm doing it. But what are we going to do with all these other babies? Yelled Kristen's father. There's a seal baby in the bathtub, and an alligator baby in the fish tank, and a gorilla baby hanging from the chandelier. What are we going to do?
I can make
But Kristen, eyes up here, looked out the window and said, "I don't think we'll have to do anything at all."
The mama's coming. All the mamas break the door. How did the alligator, how did the gorilla got there?
And everything was okay. Well, until Until Kristen's mother had twins.
What?
Uh-oh.
What?
Until Kristen's mother had twins. What is that? She has how many babies?
She has, that's the mama and then a little child and then like just a lion.
Yeah, when they have two babies at one time. Oh my goodness, there's so many things that could happen then. No, this baby's not, but it said everything was okay until Kristen's mother
and the little
had
baby,
twins.
the Kristen and the baby that they had to look for, there's baby and the gorilla and its baby are twins, and the alligator and its baby are twins, and the seal and its baby. Wait, go back to that.
All right, so
page
what we're going to
already.
do is today, are you with me?
Go
I'm
back
going
to
to
that
keep
page
you 30
with the
seconds. You
green
ready for 30 seconds? And
Go
then I'll
back
let you
to
go.
it.
Today we talked about our fictional elements, character setting, problem, and solution. When you go to guided reading today, are you ready? You're going to work with character setting, problem, and solution with me, with your book. Tomorrow's lesson, we're going to focus in on these characters that you talked about
I know
today.
another character.
So I want us to
turn
be
that
thinking
page.
about those characters for tomorrow.
Turn
But
it.
today for guided reading, we're going to talk about these 4 fictional characters. Are you ready for guided reading? Okay, I'm going to let Miss Lewis help us after that, because she's got her way of doing things.
Okay, so let's do this. The group that had your iPads out at the back table, go ahead and go back there.